Hello Capricorn moons, and welcome to your 2019 Moonology forecast. If you are not a Capricorn moon and are wondering where your Moonology forecast is at, I will upload those as we approach the new moon for your sign, the moon sign for you. It's just easier that way based on what this reading's about. If you don't know what your moon sign is, I have left a link in the description box below for you to get a copy of your free natal chart, and you will be able to see where your moon is at. So, Capricorn moons, this is for you. This is not for Capricorn sun. This is for Capricorn moon. So, what you are looking at is pretty much your blueprint for your moon's activity for 2019. And most of the time we just focus on the new moon and the full moon when it's in our moon sign. And this is to kind of give you a picture of the whole year of what your moon's doing, how you're feeling, also how to really go about trying to manifest something for yourself. Now, we are in the season of Capricorn as I am recording this, and the new moon in Capricorn will be on January 5th or 6th, just depending on where you live in the world. Now, there's something special going on with the Capricorn moon in 2019. Capricorn, along with Cancer, are on the axis for the eclipses. Now, Capricorn is also going to have two new moons in 2019. So, this first one, the partial solar eclipse that happens with the new moon on January 5th or 6th, just depending on where you live, that is kind of like cracking you open. A truth is coming to the surface. A truth is coming to light for you, all right? But this is not something that is just boom, right there in your face. No, this is something that's unfolding over the course of the entire year, all right? So, basically, with new moon energy, you're supposed to sow seeds of new intentions. And this is a little, graph here to show you how to utilize that energy. So, the new moon phase for you guys, the months that would encompass is January, February, and March. And that's where you really put your intentions out there and you start taking the steps you can take towards your manifestation. Just start with what you have, where you're at right now. That's January, February, March. April, May, and June, that's when you should really be working towards your goal. It could still be in the phase of where you're dreaming and scheming and planning, and there's just been no opportunity quite yet for you to get fully started, but you don't lose your faith. You just keep in that belief and keep your intention going. This is what I'm trying to achieve. And, do your best in your everyday to help facilitate whatever it is you're trying to manifest, because as we get to July, August, September, that's the full moon phase for you guys, all right? The full moon is in Capricorn on July 16th, and there should be a major manifestation of some kind for you guys because, again, you're on the eclipse axis for 2019, and you have another eclipse, the partial lunar eclipse. So this is some emotions coming to light, some intuitions being validated where you had, feelings, thoughts, ideas about certain things, but you didn't have a way to validate yourself. Well, July, August, September, the validation is coming. The manifestation is happening. So whatever you've been doing from January through June, mentally, emotionally, all the different actions you've been taking or lack thereof, you're going to see the manifestation of that energy, between July and September. And since you're watching this now and you're getting informed about it, if you really go about it and try to work with the energy of your moon, you're going to find yourself pleasantly surprised at how in tune you are with the cycle of the moon as it moves through your moon sign throughout the year. You know, it goes through your sign every single month, but it's not, like I said, we typically focus on when it's at a full moon phase or new moon phase. And, you know, there's waning gibbous, waxy gibbous, waning crescent, like there's a whole slew of different phases. So anyways, by July through September, you're gonna really receive whatever it is that you've been working towards, or you're going to start to see the manifestations of it. However, this is a powerful year for you guys to make big changes in your life due to this eclipse energy. Because as we move into the end of the year, October, November, December, that's the last quarter moon phase, so to speak, for you guys, where now it's time to recharge, reassess, contemplate, you know, everything we did, cause and effect, the way different energies, you know, that we put in, efforts we put in, how did we receive from that? What are the changes that we still need to make? Just an entire analysis, you know, of what you've been working on. All right, but you guys, that's when this second new moon in Capricorn comes into play on December 25th, 26th, so right around Christmas time, just depending on where you live in the world. And this is the annular solar eclipse. So this is where the moon is in the center of the sun, and it's called the ring of fire. So anything that cannot move with you into 2020, that is not, you know, conducive to your life path, what you're working on spiritually, all of it is going to be burned away at the end of the year coming into 2020. But because you have all these eclipses going on, you know, there may be a lot of up and down, up and down, up and down throughout the year, but it's because you're really reassessing and purging, whether you're consciously aware of this and working with the energy of your moon, or you're not aware of it and you're just kind of taking life as it comes at you. Either way, you're being shaken up because a lot of change. It's time for change. It's time for growth. It's time for renewal. It's time for you to break out of any sort of stagnation, dead end relationships, dead end situations, dead end jobs, really coming to a place of listening to your heart. Because, you know, if it's not logical and it's not sound and it's not practical, you might be inclined to not participate, indulge, or invest too much of your energy and effort. However, with all of this change, with the eclipse energy throughout 2019, you're going to have a different perception, a different courage, a different willingness to take risks, because you're going to desire change big time. So I'm going to do a full tarot reading for you moving through each phase, the new moon, the first quarter moon, the full moon, and then the last quarter moon, and advice on how to move through those energies, what's happening, how to work towards what you're trying to manifest. So let's get right in to your reading. All right, we are going to pull a card here to see which area of your life is going to be most impacted by all these eclipses for you guys. And again, this is for Capricorn moon only, not sun, not Venus, not anything but Capricorn moon. This is all about moon energy and how to use it and how it's affecting you. All right, so, ooh, we Capricorn. Well, I'm just going to call you guys Capricorn, all right? I know, I'm aware it's Capricorn moon, but otherwise, that's going to just be what it is. So anyways, Capricorn moons, 7th house is the house that is most affected by all of this eclipse energy, and you will have the most success towards manifestations when it comes to relationships. Now, with relationships, we always think it's about other people, but it's truly about ourselves and the relationship we have with ourselves. The relationship we have with ourselves is the relationship that we have with everybody else, and that's the truth. There are some people, some souls that override that energy that we project and unconditionally love us. Those are our angels. Those are our soulmates that the universe has so lovingly bestowed upon all of us, because humanity has a crisis of really struggling to love themselves and accept themselves as they are, just as they are, not seeing nothing but flaw and imperfection, and I've got to improve and I've got to do better. Like, it's a disease to me, because every person is a unique reflection of source and is not in competition with anybody else, okay? Just like all the instruments come together to create a melody, and no one instrument is more important than the other. Like, coming together, it's a beautiful harmony. And one instrument by itself can make beautiful music, there's no question, but as you add more together, it just becomes this beautiful symphony. And you've got to kind of see that about relationships for yourself. It's the relationship you hold with yourself is how your romantic partners are going to treat you, is how your friends are going to treat you, is how your coworkers, your bosses, strangers, customer service people, like, you name it, they are all reflections of what you feel about you, how you treat you, and what you think about yourself. So you are really coming into that understanding with all of this eclipse energy, and saying that it's, your eyes are going to start being opened about certain people in your life, of the past, of the present. And this is, in situations where you may have really felt victimized or angry or frustrated at a parent, at a certain family member, at a friend, at an ex-lover, at a ex-boss, it could be anybody, where you're just a lot of anger and resentment, like, you really screwed me over. And now, through all of these eclipses throughout 2019, you're really shifting, and you're seeing how those people were your teachers. They were, shaping you in different ways and forcing you to grow in different ways. And you're seeing how you've given your power away, and you're making a connection of how you treat yourself opposed to how other people treat you, because you could be a person who is incredibly loving, kind, giving, affectionate, will do anything for anybody type of person, but when it comes to yourself, you are not that person. And so you're like, well, why do bad things happen to me? I'm this great person to everybody. I give, I'm there. You are a great person, but you're not a great person to yourself. I promise you. If you have really crappy relationships going on in your life, and you're constantly being taken advantage of, used, screwed over, betrayed, and in your heart that's not who you are, it's because of the relationship you share with yourself. And we always justify how we treat ourselves. If, well, I'm not even going to use that example, but just our thoughts towards ourselves, there's no worse critic, there's no worst enemy than ourselves. The things we tell ourselves, the things we think about ourselves, the way we tear ourselves down, the way we compare ourselves to others and say we're not good enough, like, all of those things, that's self-abuse. And we justify it because it's only to ourselves. It's not harming anybody else, right? Wrong. Universe doesn't see it like that. You are just as divine and precious as any other soul you are interacting with and loving and helping out. Like, you are just as divine and just as deserving. So even though you're projecting all that energy out, which is beautiful, the energy you often project to yourself is not that beautiful. And universe isn't like, oh, I understand, they have some mixed feelings. No, universe only sees energy. So when you're constantly projecting that energy to yourself, that's in your vibration. That's part of who you are. And, this is a vibrational universe. So whether you mean to or not, being in that place where we are really hard on ourselves, we don't love ourselves, we don't honor ourselves, and we don't demand respect of relationships in our lives. I'm sorry, you can have 1,000 angels trying to help you, but if you aren't aware of your energy and you're not being assertive and you don't have boundaries and you're not at least trying to love yourself and appreciate yourself, you're open to bad relationships. And I'll tell you, me personally, throughout my life, like, oh my gosh, horrible, horrible relationships. And I do have Saturn in my 11th house, so I know that I have a lot of work to do in that area, a lot of lessons to understand and grow from this lifetime. But I could not understand what it was. Like, what was it about me? What do I do wrong? And this is like everything, family, friends, romance, all of it, even my own kids. And it was like this repeating loop over and over and over and over. And eventually I was led into the understanding of it was my relationship with me that was causing all of these things. And you know what happens when we're children, I'm not going back that far. I know that's a whole different story. Okay, I'm talking about once you're grown, you're consciously aware of yourself, you know right from wrong, and the decisions you start making from that space. That's what I'm talking about. And the more that I stopped being afraid of losing people and ending up entirely by myself and alone, opposed to putting up with disrespect, not real connections and love. You know, I just had a lot of abandonment issues from childhood, and so relationships, any relationship, like, I was so codependent. I could not be alone. I didn't want to be alone. And so the universe put me very much alone for pretty, 3 solid years. Like, no friends, no romance, constant battles, disconnection with my girls. And through that, like, at first I was weeping, crying, broken down, what's wrong, like the same old thing. But because nothing was changing, I was forced into a new perception. And from there, I realized that I was the one who was never loving, honoring, and respecting myself, thinking I was not good enough and I needed to change X, Y, Z, you know, all these things, when no, it was me the whole time. And once I started working on that and not being afraid to say no when I don't want to do something, because when you know you are a good person and you compromise and you're fair and you're flexible, like, you know it, and others aren't treating you in the same capacity, you know, look to yourself. What's the relationship with yourself? And then once you start working there, you're going to have some kickback. People aren't going to want you standing up for yourself, saying no, laying boundaries, you know, doing what's good for you. They're not going to want that version of you at first, okay? And the people that were never there to be on your team to begin with are going to fall away. But the people that genuinely care about you, they will adjust to you loving you, and then you're going to have a deeper connection with them than ever before. And I can tell you, I'm on the other side of that now, and there are relationships that are permanently out of my life, and I know it and I accept it, but there's other relationships that have reconciled, family relationships, friendships, even exes, just to be friends, you know, and it has everything to do with my choice and desire to learn to love myself for no other reason than I was tired of crappy relationships. And so if you are really in that struggle, that's your answer. It's the relationship with yourself. And the more you work on that and improve that and learn to love you, the better off you are. And for you ladies out there, I'll give you an example of love yourself, okay? So back to back, I kind of had 2 crappy boyfriends. One I dated for 2 years, and he used to tell me that I needed to be a size 5 and have D boobs. And I was probably about a size 16 and a C. And he would always tell me that. And then I lost weight and all these things, and the next relationship I was in was the person I was with for many, many years of my life, and he would always tell me that I was going to gain weight and get big and, you know, all these things. And so I had never really been worried about my appearance or anything, no matter what size I was. before these relationships. And then, you know, I wished to be skinnier, and I wished that I had a bigger chest, not because I wanted those things, but because I was told. Well, I didn't get my wish. What I got was a lot of stomach issues that caused me to not be able to eat and all this crap, and I got really skinny, and now I still struggle with eating sometimes. Just my stomach gets really upset and acidic. It's bad. So I'm so careful and very much in tune with loving my body, I'll tell you what. And I also developed a lump in one of my breasts because I wasn't honoring it. It wasn't, you know, cancer. Everything was fine, but I wasn't honoring and loving my body just as it was. And it wasn't even me. It was somebody else telling me something was wrong with me. And then all of a sudden I have these medical issues out of nowhere that just show up. And that was my own doing, my negative energy out of no honor, no respect for my physical being, just as it is. And now, you know, I love me, and I don't care if I'm not perfect, you know. I don't care if I have stretch marks. I don't care if I have fat on my thighs. I don't care if I don't have a flat stomach. I am me, and you've got to feel that way about you. You are you. You are beautiful and perfect as you are, and the more that you feel that for yourself, you are just naturally going to be inclined to align to things that really are healthy for you and good for you. Like, I drink shakes now, I take vitamins, I'm very cautious of what I eat, even like my lotions, my soaps, my shampoo, like all of it. And a year ago, I could have cared less about those things. But, you know, as I've been working on the relationship with myself, I've started taking care of myself and willing to spend more money on certain things because I understand the importance. As prior, I didn't. I would give all my energy to everybody else around me, and there was never nothing left for me. And this coming out, Capricorn, all of what I've just said is like, that's the truths coming up for you. What relationships are true in your life and which ones are false? More to the point, what is the relationship you hold with yourself? How many potential health issues do you have? How many potential bad relationships do you suffer because you stay stuck in this energy, this lower energy? And it's, you know, I was there. I get it. It's hard. You live life for so long, and everybody's always telling you, and it's hard to not let that seep in and question, do I need to change? You know, am I okay? Am I attractive? Like, why do people hurt me? Why do people take advantage? And just scrap all of that. Start loving you, whatever it takes. Affirmations while you sleep, I promise you, because I think it's time for you guys to improve relationships in your life, have new relationships come in. Some relationships need to fall away. There is no question there. But let's pull another card here. All right. Oh, yeah. Look at that. After all I just said, this is the waxing gibbous moon, discernment. So this is where, you know, the moon is starting to build up to the full moon phase. And this is where you see how she's, the clouds there. So there's truth coming up. The truth, see it right there in her hands, coming to the surface, just as I said, but it is all 100% about your relationships. Again, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with everybody, your relationship with the universe, you name it. And it's like you're going to just shift and really start seeing things so much differently. You're going to be a whole different person by the end of the year. I swear it. And also I love that Capricorn is the 10th house, and this is card 10. So let's pull some cards to see how you are going to transition through the new moon, first quarter, full moon, and then when it's time to recess and recharge. All right, so first one out is 6th house routine. Yep. What needs to change is the way that we have been going about our relationships. Again, this is very patterned behavior, so much so that you don't recognize it. And that's what this eclipse energy is all about for you this year, is letting you know if you change these thinking patterns, you change these emotional habits, you're willing to let certain people go, you're willing to do whatever it takes to really connect to yourself and love yourself and know yourself, so much so that nobody's opinion of you matters anymore. Okay, that's right here. New moon energy, and the eclipse starts here. All right, and we're getting some truths. Truth is coming to light, and it has everything to do with your patterns, routines, habits of behavior, of thinking, of going about things when it comes to relationships. So let's keep going. All right, I feel like right there. Okay, so first quarter moon, look at that. Water element sensing, yep. So more truth is starting to bubble up to the surface. It's like, here's where we're becoming aware of things consciously. You know, January, February, March, April, May, June. Now you are in a place of it going from your intellect down into your heart and into your soul. So it's like the mind and then the body here. You know, 6th house is Virgo, earth energy, but we're talking about relationships. So this is about your thinking and your emotions and your way of handling things, your patterns of behavior. And here you're starting to understand and see what needs to change in you, so all the relationships external to you can start changing. And then here, you know, through these next 3 months, you're really feeling that, and you are sensing and being pulled and guided to do some different things, to handle things in a new way, to really assert yourself and discern. You know, if you know somebody is not having good intentions for you and you just care about them so much that you always give them a free pass, your spirit is really going to start convicting you about it. You're going to feel it, where it's like, man, I can't keep enabling you to treat me badly. Like, as you gain more respect for yourself, you can't, it just is like nails on a chalkboard. You cannot tolerate it. Even if you want to, you can't anymore. You're like, no, I don't deserve this, especially from you. And if you can't figure that out, good luck without me. Like, I've said that to a few people, and they went off all huffy puffy, but they came back. Not because I'm so amazing, but because I am genuine and I am honest and real, and I'm not going to screw you over. I'm not going to lie. I know who I am now. A long time ago I didn't. You guys are learning about who you truly are, and you're learning to let that be enough for you and realize how special that is. Honesty, integrity, stability, those are not easy traits to come by in any relationships, all right? They're not. So when you're giving those things, you have every right to expect those things. However, you've also got to consider the consciousness in which somebody's dealing with. If you recognize somebody is very emotionally, mentally immature, or spiritually not awakened whatsoever, you can't expect that anything you say or do is going to change all that for them. It's not. They have to change their vibration in order to even receive and hear totally what you're saying. So some people you're recognizing you can't anymore, and other people you will reconnect with, and you will mend with, and you will heal with, because they're recognizing your divinity as you're recognizing it. And as I was really getting in tune with myself, that's when certain people came back and told me things that I'd never been told before. Like, I've never met anybody like you. You are so amazing. I'm so sorry that I was stupid. You know, because once you start asserting yourself, there's people that aren't going to be so interested in accepting that, especially when you've accommodated them frequently. I don't know why my pup's barking. All right, so over here, the harvest. Look at that air element communicating. I love it. So the two of these paired up, look at 39, 40. Oh my gosh, and this is card 30, so we have 30, 40, and then 39, 40. I love the synchronicity. Here's the heart and the soul, and here's the higher mind and the consciousness. And you are really getting in balance. You are discerning. You are seeing. So by the time you're having this partial lunar eclipse, it's more coming to light, all right? It's like the all the dots finally starting to connect. You're really getting it in your head. But also with this, I see where you're mastering your emotional body and you're also mastering your mental body, where, you know, you're getting more disciplined in that area. If you find yourself dwelling, worrying, getting really anxious, rehashing, you're recognizing that doesn't serve you, and you are going to find ways to distract yourself, to think of other things so that you don't get sucked back down, you know. And it's up, down, as we're learning, you know, a new skill, a new vibration of energy to hang out in. It takes some time, okay? Now, over here, when it's time to when it's time to retreat, recess, and contemplate, look at what's come out here. And I just want to point out card 30, card 31, card 40, well, card 39, card 40. So, whoa, look at those synchronicities. This is when you have the annular eclipse, which is the ring of fire. So as you move through the last 3 months of the year, this is where we are coming together, and it's a tight bond. Or this is where, you know, what can't be with you, the relationships that must go, they're going to go. You are going to be very strong and firm by the end of the year. You're going to know yourself. You're going to know what you want. You are going to know what you need. And you're not going to be willing to settle anymore. So let's pull some new cards. Let's pull some more cards. I'm totally in awe about the number synchronicities here. It's, yeah, going to the next level. The second go round for some of you in some of these relationships and partnerships. But just remember, Capricorn moon, as you get to here where we're reassessing, this is where I feel your big time decisions, even though manifestation comes here, it's like all the words that were never said are finally being expressed. Also, I don't want to do this, I'm going to tell you no. Really asserting yourself, creating boundaries, like a lot of good things. And then by these last 3 months, this is where relationships are walking away, or relationships are returning, or there's new relationships coming into your life. And that's something else. Like, I have some really good friends now, like really solid friendships that I, like nothing like I've ever had before. So again, as you work on the relationship with yourself, other people will respond to you differently than they ever have before. And I promise you, I never preach anything that I haven't lived myself. I don't, because how can I say something if I don't know it, if I haven't experienced it? I can't, like I have no basis. So I promise you, the more you love you, the better it gets. And those of you, there's some like marriages or long-term relationships, and I feel as you start loving and honoring you, they kind of fall in love with you again. And look at, just as I was about to shuffle, you are good enough, okay? You are good enough. You need to know that. So let's pull some clarifiers for all of this. All right, so have faith in your dreams, the waxing crescent moon. I love it. So this is that new moon place. Have faith that the changes that you want to make in yourself, the kind of relationships you want to have in your life, the healing, the forgiveness, the mending, all of it, have faith that it can happen. Really start doing whatever you can do to push yourself in that direction. Meditation, Reiki, monitoring your thoughts, affirmations, all sorts of free tools on the internet, on YouTube, to help you, you know, set new intentions, go about things a whole nother way in a new direction, make major changes, really work with this eclipse energy that's being offered to you. All right, so first quarter moon, when we're really doing the work, look at that. A win-win outcome is forecast. So by you doing the work, you really focusing on yourself and pushing through your blocks and understanding why the challenges that exist in your relationship, why they are there, how to overcome them. Like, you're really getting it deep down in your soul. Not only that, this is where you see the scale here. This is Libra, and Libra is the 7th house. All right, relationships. So you have it boom, 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 3 times out of 3 different decks. So each deck has brought out Libra 7th house energy relationships for you guys. This year, through this eclipse energy, is all about balancing those scales, and it's just time. So again, as you're really understanding things differently and seeing them differently, you have forgiveness coming from you, and your perception is shifting, and you're becoming more willing to compromise. How do I want to explain this? You're willing, okay, if you've been very stubborn in your thinking, you're now willing to kind of compromise in that. So let's just say somebody is your boyfriend, girlfriend, is always, like, you think they're lazy, okay, always leaving stuff around the house. And this is just a very generic example. Always leaving stuff around the house. They're just sloppy, they're messy, and you're like, oh, I can't deal with this. And it's always this battle, and at this point you take it incredibly personally, because you're like, I can't stand that, but you do it anyways. You never hear what I say, you just don't care. So when they do make any sort of effort, at this point you don't even see it, because you're so caught up in the disrespect for so long that you don't see any sort of effort, or your energy is so blocked at this point because you're so focused on what's consistently been. There's no room for them to change. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just you are not open to it. So if that speaks to you, there's a situation in your life like that, it's time to no longer focus on them and what they're doing. If they are a sloppy, messy person, they are a sloppy, messy person, and you can't expect that to change about them any more than they can expect, your extreme cleanliness to change about you. And most people think, well, being clean is the right thing to do. Well, there's a lot of people that would agree with that, and for me personally, I enjoy a clean space, that's just me. However, there are people who live very comfortably in a sloppy kind of environment, and it says more about their energy than anything, but to them it's okay, it's normal, and it's fine. And truly, at the end of the day, nothing's being hurt, nothing's being harmed. So you can't tell them they need to change because you deem their cleanliness to just not even be up to par. Like, you can't tell them that. That's who they are. You have to recognize that A, you have to learn to accept and tolerate that behavior, or B, that's just something on your list of partnership that you can't deal with. Like, you can't deal with it, all right? Because once you accept this person for the fact that they're sloppy, messy, and you look beyond that, you're looking at their other qualities of why you love them, either they're going to start becoming cleaner naturally because you have a vibration. So the more you just vibe, they can jump on your vibe, okay? But, or you'll just be so focused on these other things that issue of them won't be such a big deal anymore. Because where we focus our energy, we grow that experience big, big, big. And so if you don't want more of that, you've got to turn your attention away from it. And the only person you can change in this world is you. That is the truth all day long, and you cannot expect or ask anybody to change to better suit you and your needs. Nor is it fair for anybody to ask you to change to better suit their wants, desires, and needs. There's a line there. If you can't be accepted, like, we all need to self-improve, okay? I'm not saying, you know, if somebody's pointing out a flaw in you that definitely needs to be dealt with, that, you know, you shouldn't look at it. What I'm saying is, somebody harping on you, telling you you're bad, you're this, you're that, because of this one issue about yourself, that is not okay. Because that one thing doesn't define who you are, but now all these conversations and fights and everything is always about this, and that's all you and the other person are focused on, is this one thing, and that has now caused us to lose sight of everything else about the relationship and each other. So you are really coming into a deep understanding of this throughout throughout 2019, and you're really going to start being more fair in your expectations, I feel, because I don't think whatever you are asking for is something that you're not already giving. Like, I have no doubt that what you're giving is already there. You're not asking for any bit more than what you're already giving to somebody. But you're realizing that sometimes people just can't be or do what you need. And if that's the case, you can't punish them, fault them for that, because we are each here living our own life on our own journey, our own life path. And, you know, I get it. Sometimes we really want a certain person to be our one, you know, that we're with. And we just, if you don't have a whole lot in common and you have different goals and different dreams, or there's just some behavior about them that is almost intolerable, then you might need to accept the fact that they might not be able to go with you to the next level of your life, of what you're doing. And if that's the case, there is going to be a much better suited partner for you, where you guys are more aligned, more in sync. Again, because as you connect to you and love you and respect you and honor you and refuse to be treated in any way but that, the more it comes back to you through every relationship. So much honor. Just watch, listen to this video, because everybody's always like, oh, the cards, they said we'll get back together and it didn't happen. And I'm like, okay, well, here's a video that's saying here's everything you need to do to better your situation, and here it is at the start of your moon phase, Capricorn moons. And if you follow this all the way through to the end of the year, I promise you, your relationships are going to be so improved. And the ones that just can't be, they'll fall away. And I know that that's hard and that's scary, but those relationships don't belong in your life. That's part of the problem. That's why you feel bad about yourself. That's part of the energy that needs to shift and change, okay? Over here, gibbous moon, you're very close to achieving your goal. So this falls under this full moon, Capricorn full moon, which is happening on July 16th. So there's a lot of change, but as I said in the start of the reading, I feel like more of that happens here. So let's see. Yeah, boom, look at that. Believe in the impossible, blue moon. Yep. So by October, November, December, and that final annular solar eclipse, the Ring of Fire is going to surprise you, okay? I feel like this is meeting some people that just blow your mind, friendships, you know, romance, coworkers, whatever, or this is reconnection of certain relationships. It's just, expect surprises the last 3 months of the year if you've really worked with the moon energy and you've really put in the energy, time, and effort for self-improvement, okay? So let's pull some tarot, guys. We're going to start with just you. Okay, yeah, look at that. Four of Wands came out. So you are really getting solid, stable, and strong within yourself, becoming quite empowered, being very discerning about who you let into your space close and who you kind of keep at an arm's distance. Very empowering energy for you guys. And this is working towards much more stable relationships. Oh, okay, yeah, and look at what just fell out. as I'm trying to shuffle. Yeah, look it. This is the Magician. It's time for some magic. This fell out too, coming under water element. This is the King of Swords. So, to me, this is where you're understanding everything I'm saying intellectually, but now it really dropped. Whoa, deep down into your spirit. They're just flying out. Okay, so here's 3 of coins over here under the manifestation. So there is something coming your way. There is definitely some change and some manifestation coming for you. However, it's kind of like with the gibbous moon, you're almost there. It's like October, November, December is really your harvest, opposed to July, August, September, which is kind of interesting. All right, so one final dice. Ooh, look at that. You got the 10 of Cups. What did I say? Yes. Over here, this is so good. I love it. You have Blue Moon, you have 7th house partners, and 10 of Cups. That is happiness, all right? That is utter happiness and contentment, and everything is finally working out. So I know, like, nobody wants to hear, okay, well, the last 3 months of the year are going to be total fire and magic for you. But that's what I see. If you do the work all through the year, by those last 3 months, your relationships are improved, new relationships coming in, reconnections happening. So let's pull you guys some advice on each one of these phases and what you should do. What's the best course of action for you? So, surrender the idea you can fix somebody. Ha! Imagine that after all that I just said. It says here, it's time for a relationship to shift. It doesn't work to try to fix somebody. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. That's quite powerful. Considering everything I've been saying, yes, you can only change you. You cannot change anybody else. And you're realizing that here with that new moon energy. And if you put the time, energy, and effort into yourself, into fixing your relationship with yourself that you've been funneling into others, magic happens. Boom, right there. Coming out here for the first quarter moon. Surrender your fear of change. Even more fitting. The universe is reminding you that you are carried for always. Whether you are afraid of change in your job, your health, or a relationship, or if you fear aging or death, repeat the affirmation. I have faith that all is well. So as we're really starting to feel things and the shift perception, you are recognizing what needs to change, what needs to go, what needs to change in you, and what relationships probably are not serving you. And don't be afraid, okay? Because as I was talking about my relationships, there's people I just let go. I let walk away. Fine, whatever. And some of them came back and some of them didn't. And the ones that came back are strong, true, solid relationships, and the ones that didn't are the ones that never really loved and honored me to begin with, okay? So don't be afraid of what needs to change for this to come in at the end of the year. Over here, oh my gosh, surrender fear at this full moon energy. Wow. Let go of the fear. Let go of fearful stories you are telling yourself. Stay in the moment. Focus on solutions and celebrate every baby step forward. Yes, a big, big message of advice to not be afraid. You can't fix somebody. Things got to change, but don't fear it. And look at this. Oh my God, I love it for the last 3 months of the year. Surrender to spirit. Once you've done everything you can to achieve a goal, turn the situation over to the divine. Let spirit work its magic for you. Oh my goodness. Yeah, with all of this blue moon, 10 of cups, 7th house, surrender to spirit. Like, Just trust. Wow, Spirit has so got you. It's all about relationship improvement for Capricorn moons with all this eclipse energy. So, let's pull a message for you specifically. All right, forgiveness. This says, holding on to resentment and anger is preventing or even suffocating your spiritual growth. Resentment is one of the strongest and most damaging of human emotions. The act of forgiveness in its own right is equally incredibly powerful, and it has the capacity to heal and transform. So, for you personally, it's forgiveness. Forgiveness to others for what different things they've done to you and put you through, but also forgiveness to yourself, forgiveness to the universe, a total purge of some really heavy, dark, intense emotions when it comes to relationship energies. All right, so let's pull one final card to see what you blossom into at the end of this year when all that magic is taking place. Oh, look at that. Resolution. Yep. It's time for toxic relationships to go and ones that honor and fulfill you to come in. There's a lot of energy all about relationships, and that came through so strong. I mean, we had the 7th house come out 3 times, okay? And we even have the Queen of Swords, which could be an air sign, Libra. Libra's the ruler of 7th house, right? So there, it could be reiterated right there, or, you know, could be a Libra, could be an Aquarius, could be a Gemini. That's the only real energy as far as another person coming out presenting. But listen, that's gonna come. Everything's coming to a head, and as you move through these eclipses throughout the year, different things are coming to the surface, different epiphanies, different understandings, different relations shifting in and different relationships shifting out. 100% about relationships. And just remember those number synchronicities at the start of this reading. So those are your messages for your Moonology for 2019 for all those Capricorn moons out there. I am wishing you all the very best. Take care.